Hello and welcome to LV Educates. Today we're going to look into how we can actually interact with different web elements who has particularly one locator which identifies them. For example, there are instances where maybe a list of elements or maybe buttons might have just one class name or just one XPath, but that one XPath actually identifies multiple elements. So for that, Selenium actually provides us with a function. We've already explored find element function, element without an S. So today we're going to look into the function that handles multiple element identification. So let's do that manually first. So we've been exploring source demo web application with little web testing website before, so we'll continue doing on working on that. So let me just log in to this website, and as you can see that there are 6 add to cart button available on this page, and possibly these 6 elements, 6 add to cart buttons will have a single class name for them with them, but uh, conveniently on this website we have a unique ID against each of these add to cart button. But there will be instances in your testing career where you'll find certain buttons or certain list elements or certain elements which may not have any unique identifiers. So in that case you might have to work with a class name or maybe an XPath that might be identifying these buttons in a combination, right? So let's try to find something. Let's try to find a class name or maybe an XPath that identifies all 6 of these buttons, and then we'll try to handle them with our Selenium code. So as you can see, we have this class which actually identifies all of these 6 buttons. I'm going to just pick this up and I'm going to create my own XPath identifying them, right? So contains, we actually did that, did creating our own XPath thing in our last video. So I'll put the link in the description below, so you could refer that video into how you can actually create your own XPaths. It's actually very easy, so, and that is what I'm doing. So I'll just do a quick recap for that in this video as well, and then we can see. Right, so now this XPath that I've just written here identifies this button, but as you can see that there are 6 of the elements which are identified by this XPath, and that's actually what we need for right now. I'll just go to my code and I'll try to work with a different test case there to see if this actually works or not. Okay, so here I'm going to start with the test annotation, because this is going to be another test that we would be working on. So I'll be typing in public void add to cart button, or let's just say multi add to cart, right? And I'm just going to create a method. I'm going to type in driver dot find elements. As you can see, there's an S here. Find elements by dot XPath. You type in the XPath in here, and that's it. So again, you need to understand that now, since we're doing find elements here, so there are possibly more than one elements which are going to get saved, right? So at this point they're not getting saved anywhere. So now if the elements are more than one, then again it's a list. So we have to save that. So Java gives us the facility to save them in a list like this, web element, and you can name this web element. I'm going to name it add to cart button, and I'm going to save it like this. Okay, what seems to be the problem? Let me just check this web element. Okay, there we go. So now I've created a list of elements. Assume that there are six. I'm assuming right now there are six elements saved inside this add to cart buttons variable, right? So now in order to access all of these six buttons, I have to work with an iteration. That means that once my Selenium code starts to run and the crawler tries to find these buttons, so it's going to come on this button, identify it, then it's going to go to the next one, and then on the third one, then on the fourth one, then on the fifth one, and then on the sixth one. So there are indexes involved. So this first button rests on the 0th index, then this one is on the first one, that's on the second, this one is on the third, this one is on fourth, and this one is on fifth. So by count there are six elements which are identified by this XPath, which is getting saved into this add to cart button, right? So to work with these, I have to work with a for loop. I need to identify web element. I'm going to name it add to cart button, single button. Why single button? Because each of those buttons iterations or index are going to save in this variable, and this variable is going to get identify each of these buttons one after the other, which are actually saved in this list. Okay. Now individually I can work with these buttons. So let's first get the text of these buttons. Dot get text, and so it's going to print the text of all of these buttons. So yeah, I'll just print it like this. Yep. And we're going to make an assertion here that add to cart button get text equals to add to cart. I mean, each of these buttons text is add to cart. So I mean, in your case, you could just identify that all of the buttons that you're getting, all of the list or elements that you're getting, they have the same button, same text, or any other thing that could happen. Also, I'm going to perform one more thing, which would be to actually click on these buttons. So I'll just compile it. There's this error here. I'm going to compile it again. And there we go. The compiler has been successful. I'm going to run this code now and see what happens. Okay, there seems to be an error. Stale element for the... Okay, so which add to... Okay, that's on the first line. Okay, so we were having that stale element issue because every time the loop runs the XPath, it kind of get expired. So I had to make some tweaks in order to fix that issue. So for web element, add to cart button is a single variable which takes each of the iterations of the elements that, or maybe the add to cart button elements inside it every time. Then it's going to print the text which is on the add to cart button, and I put an assertion here that the text of each of those buttons before getting clicked should be add to cart, because if you could see that once I click on this add to cart button, it changes to remove. So if it's remove, then this test is going to fail. If any of the button text changes to anything other than add to cart, this test case is going to fail. And then it clicks on add to cart button, clicks on each one of them. And the other test case that I'm going to write will also going to work with this shopping cart, because I believe that every time we click on add to cart, the counter should increase. So we'll still going to, that could be one of your test cases, that once you click on one of these products, the counter should increase here, right? Let's try to run this and see what happens. I'm going to put in a thread.sleep here, so we could just see about 3 seconds that we could see that our processes are running smoothly, right? And we'll still be able to see add to cart counter getting increased. Okay, so that was inside the loop. I have to get this out of the loop to execute this. Oh, that's 3 millisecond. I need to make it 3000, so that's going to make it 3000 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry, 3. So as you can see that all of the 6 were clicked. Let's try to run this one more time. So as you can see, all were clicked and the counter was increased, right? So that's the content for this video. I hope you understood the concept of find elements and the difference between find element and find elements as well. In our next video, we're going to look into iframes, look into notifications, pop-ups that come. We'll also see how we can handle modals and what modals actually are. We'll also going to handle browser alerts in our next video. So stay tuned and thank you for watching.